whether you agree with it or not, if you admit 10 to 12 foreign nationals illegal into your country, all of whom need housing, does that make the cost of home ownership go up?
You know, I think that all of these questions and all of these inputs to housing costs.
What about first about illegal immigration? Does that increase demand for housing and make the cost of home ownership go up?
I think that's a distributional question. I think the question we're here to talk about today is
but does it make the cost of home ownership go up?
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a fiery exchange that you need to see. Senator John Kennedy isn't holding back as he questions top officials on rising housing costs, inflation, and government regulations. If you're struggling with high rent, mortgage rates, or even just paying your electricity bill, you'll want to stick around for this one. And before we dive in, if you care about getting the truth on issues that affect your wallet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. All right, let's get into it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Senator Warner, I appreciate your comments. I've been very, very perceptive. Thank you. Let me say first, Mr. Speaker, I've served with a lot of speakers of the House back in Louisiana. God bless you. You know, you've got an automatic place in heaven.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have your job for all the money in the world.
I can say the same about yours, Senator.
Well, no, you've got to herd all these free-range chickens that wander off and go catch them, and sometimes you can catch some and sometimes you can't.
It's very true.
Thank you for your service. Mr. Williams, if the price of electricity goes up, does that make a house more expensive?
Not in a direct sense, but I mean, electricity is an input to a lot of things, both on the construction side.
It makes home ownership more expensive.
Sure, yes. And
all right, if property taxes go up, does that make home ownership more expensive?
Sure does.
If homeowners insurance goes up, does that make home ownership more expensive?
Indeed.
If interest rates, particularly mortgage rates, go up, does that increase the cost of home ownership?
It does.
A lot, right?
Depends on a lot of factors, but sure, it could.
When you own a home, you're going to have repairs. If the cost of home maintenance and repairs goes up, does that make home ownership more expensive?
Indeed.
Okay. If you, whether you agree with it or not, if you admit 10 to 12 foreign nationals illegal into your country, all of whom need housing, does that make the cost of home ownership go up?
You know, I think that all of these questions and all of these inputs to housing costs.
What about first about illegal immigration? Does that increase demand for housing and make the cost of home ownership go up?
I think that's a distributional question. I think the question we're here to talk about today is...
but does it make the cost of home ownership go up?
We're here to talk about housing supply today.
We're here to talk about home ownership and the cost of owning a home. You're a bright man. Does that make the cost of home ownership go up when you increase demand that much?
I think that's a distributional question.
You don't want to admit it, do you?
I think that's a distributional question, and the problem that we're facing is
with all due
housing
respect,
supply.
I think you're being disingenuous. Let me ask you, Mr. Pinto, if you increase immigration by 11 million people, does that increase the cost of home ownership?
Senator, yes. We've tried to figure out what that impact is.
I mean, duh.
Yeah, but the federal government doesn't publish where they're distributing these individuals around the country, so we can't do the kinds of experiments that we normally do.
It causes home
But
ownership to go up in some places.
But we can't figure out exactly what it is. We'd love to.
I'm not
we
here
need
to
the
play
data.
games. I'm here to try to get some answers.
Housing costs have been going through the roof, literally. Senator Kennedy lays it all out. Mortgage rates, up 123%. Home insurance premiums, up 16%. Electricity bills, up 28%. And why? Inflation, reckless policies, and regulations that add thousands to the price of a home. Kennedy wastes no time questioning Williams on the real impact of these rising costs. Mr. Williams, if the price of electricity goes up, does that make homeownership more expensive? Yes. If property taxes go up, does that make homeownership more expensive? Sure, simple math, right? But it seems like some people just don't want to admit it. It's not just inflation, it's excessive regulation. Kennedy exposes a $3,835 price hike on new homes thanks to a new energy conservation code. Think about it, nearly $4,000 extra just because of new bureaucratic red tape. And what do you get in return? Barely $7 in energy savings per year. Let that sink in. Guys, this is the kind of thing that's pushing the American dream further out of reach. If this makes you mad, make sure you smash that like button so more people see this.
But if you could get more data, that would be great.
I'm sorry?
If you could get the data released by the federal government as to where.
I'll give you some data. Mortgage rates are up 123%. Premiums for homeowners are up 16%. The average electricity bill in America is up 28%. That affects the cost of home ownership. No wonder people can't buy a home. This dollar, thanks to President Biden and Vice President Harris's inflation, they've been inflation machines. This dollar was worth $1 when President Biden and Vice President Harris took office. It's worth 75 cents today. That's the fundamental problem with home ownership. The other problem is government regulation. Look, the HUD and the USDA recently adopted the International Energy Conservation Code. Do any of you know what that is? Okay, I'm not going to ask you because it's going to take time. They recently adopted the International Energy Conservation Code put out by the International Code Council. And the Biden-Harris administration just said, they just told HUD and the USDA to adopt it. So if you want a HUD or USDA loan or access to the housing assistance, you've got to build a home that complies with the International Energy Conservation Code. You know how much it's going to add to the price of a new home? $31,835. Are you kidding me? You know how much energy you're going to save?
Senator Kennedy, you're well into Senator Padilla's time now.
$657. We need to start with the basics, folks. It's inflation that's killing our people, and it's this crazy whack job regulation.
Senator Kennedy, you're well into Senator Padilla's time now.
I'm sorry, Senator.
That's all right.
Senator.
Now here's a topic that gets dodged every time. How does mass illegal immigration impact housing costs? Kennedy presses the officials, but they refuse to give a straight answer. If you increase immigration by 11 million people, does that increase housing demand and drive prices up? We think that's a distributional question. A distributional question? Come on, the more people who need housing, the higher the demand and the higher the prices. It's basic economics, but no one wants to admit it. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think. Are these officials dodging the truth? So, what's the fix? Here's what Kennedy's getting at. 1. Tackle inflation. Stop reckless spending that devalues the dollar. 1. Cut unnecessary regulations. Let people build affordable homes without pointless fees. 1. Secure the border. Reduce the added pressure on housing demand. The bottom line, we need common sense, not more government interference. All right, guys, that wraps it up. This was one of the most eye-opening exchanges I've seen, and it proves how out of touch some of our leaders really are. If you found this video informative, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss the truth on what's really happening in America. And don't forget to share this video. People need to see what's going on. Let's get the word out and fight for real solutions. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.